Rambam, Maimonides' teachings. We're in the Book of Purity. We are in the 15th chapter of Hilchos Kelim, the laws of vessels, implements, and things that are implements that could serve a person or serve a task. They um, can become impure, susceptible to impurity, which means, as we've learned, that they can't be used for a holy task, but for mundane tasks and services for ourselves, they could be used. Okay, so now we're going to deal with earthenware containers, which was by and large back in the day. Most things were, not paper cups like this one, right? But were made from earthenware. So only when it becomes an implement, when it becomes a vessel, in its completion, is it considered now susceptible? So at what point is that? So everything will be a different point in its fashioning. So an earthenware container does not become susceptible to ritual impurity until the tasks necessary to finish it are completed. So when are the tasks necessary to finish it completed? When it's fired in the kiln, right? Till then, it's not gonna be sustainable. The earthenware vessel, it's got to be fired up in the kiln. So that's when it becomes indeed a vessel, an implement that could be susceptible to impurity. An oven, when is that? When it's heated to bake donuts. Why donuts? An oven is not fired up in a kiln, right? Earthenware oven. Said the clay becomes fired when it's used to bake for the first time. Since donuts are made with light dough, an oven needed to be heated in the same degree to bake them as is necessary if it was being used to bake bread or a heavier substances. Nevertheless, it must be emphasized that when the oven had not been used before, its walls will absorb. Let's read. So let me hear that right. So an oven, earthenware oven, you're not putting into a kiln. Its baking of donuts, which needs less to be done because it's lighter, would be sufficient that that's considered, it's complete. Arranged with two openings, arranged. So you had two openings, like, and you would put pots on it, like we put on a oven. This oven top now, rather than the inside the oven, right? It was a different kind of range, if you will. So when it's heated so that a stirred egg can be baked over it in a frying pan, right? Eggs don't need so much to be fried. So that would be sufficient. Arranged with one opening, if it was made for baking, the measure is the same that of an oven, which would be bake donuts. If it was made for cooking, on top, the measure was the same as that of a range, right? Which is, I guess with one, it was used more either of an oven or as a um, range. Okay, when one has begun building an oven, if it is large, once one has begun building it for 4 handbreadths and heats it, it becomes susceptible to impurity. If it's a small oven, once one has begun building it for a handbreadth, right, and heats it, it becomes susceptible to impurity. The range with two openings becomes susceptible to impurity once one began building it by 3 finger breadths and heats it. I don't understand what the difference over here. So there are different stages of building the oven, it looks like. So this is the initial stages. Mm. Arrangement is going to become several and began built. Not clear. With regard to arrangement, one opening was made for baking, the measure is the same as that of an oven. If it's made for cooking, the measure is that the same of a range. Not clear over here. You began building as opposed to over here previously. So it seems like there's different processes in building. So in the first one, what I'm understanding, I might not have it clear. It's you did the whole thing and you didn't use it at all until you finished. And here you build it in a process. You build the first process, you used it, you heated it up. So it's enough that it's only a small part of the oven because you heated it up to to make something, then that's sufficient to make it susceptible. That's the way I understand. Okay. I'm obliged. I have to get off now. We'll see you guys later. All right.